The silence for years, the galaxy forgot about Earth. The alien empires grew strong, spreading across the stars with pride and arrogance. They built fleets that filled entire skies, and they believed themselves to be the true rulers of the galaxy. What about humanity? Humanity stayed quiet. After the great wars that had scarred Earth, humans no longer sent their fleets out to fight. They no longer answered every insult or every threat. Instead, they pulled back. They rebuilt in silence. At first, the galaxy thought this silence was a strategy. But as years passed and no human fleets were seen, the alien leaders began to laugh. "Are finished," one alien lord declared at the Galactic Council. "Humans are broken. They will never fight again." Others joined in. They mocked Earth as the silent world. They told their children that humans had once been dangerous, but now they were nothing but shadows. Colonies of other species whispered the same story, that the fire of Earth was gone forever. And yet, the silence was strange. Human colonies that survived the old wars remained closed to outsiders. Alien traders who tried to visit Earth found themselves turned away. Those who looked deeper only saw empty skies, no fleets, no armies, no sign of strength. But the humans were not gone. They were waiting in the underground bunkers of Earth. Deep under cities hidden from alien eyes, vast shipyards came alive. Thousands of workers toiled in secret, building machines that no alien had ever seen. Giant engines roared in the dark, powering the creation of warships the galaxy could not imagine. Above ground, Earth seemed peaceful, almost weak. But beneath, steel and fire were being forged. Still, the galaxy believed only in what it could see. And what it saw was silence. One night, in the heart of the Galactic Council, alien leaders laughed again at the weak humans. A holoscreen showed the destruction of another small human colony. Alien raiders had burned it, and the survivors were dragged into slavery. The council members clapped their hands and roared in cruel joy. "See how they hide? See how they do not answer?" said a tall alien with golden scales. "Humanity has no more spirit. They are like dust." The laughter filled the chamber. It echoed across the galaxy, carried in transmissions, spread in reports, and repeated. In every corner of space, but somewhere far away, in the cold dark between stars, a single human warship stirred. Its engines hummed as it came alive, breaking the silence for the first time in decades. No one knew it was there. No one saw it rise. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the hidden warship. His uniform was plain, but his eyes were sharp. He watched the black void ahead, his hands steady on the command console. For years, he and his crew had trained in silence. They had listened as the galaxy laughed at their people. They had waited for the order that never came. Until tonight, a simple message had reached them. Only 5 words. "The silence is over." Burn. Ward's heart beat steady. His crew looked. At him, their faces calm, their eyes filled with something the galaxy had forgotten. Human resolve. The captain spoke softly, but his words carried weight. "Power the weapons." The warship's dark hull glowed faintly as hidden weapons came. Online, energy hummed through the vessel, vibrating the steel. On the edge of alien territory, a patrol fleet had already noticed the human ship. To them, it was a joke. A single human warship? After all these years? The alien commander laughed and ordered his ships to surround it. This is how humans answer. "You? Yes, with one dying relic?" the alien said. But then the warship spoke. A transmission was sent across the alien fleet. 4 words, sharp and clear. "We are not silent." In that moment, the galaxy began to change. The alien ships moved closer, still mocking, still laughing. But laughter would soon vanish. In the silence of space, the human warship prepared its strike. And back on Earth, deep in the hidden bunkers, More fleets stirred. Engines thundered. Weapons lit up. A storm was coming. Humanity's silence had lasted too long. And now, it was about to end in Fire Dot Asterisk, the provocation the galaxy thought humanity was weak. And when the galaxy believes something, it spreads like fire. After the Galactic Council mocked Earth, the alien empires became bold. They sent raiders into human space more often. They struck colonies, destroyed trade routes, and stole survivors as slaves. They recorded these raids and showed them across the stars as proof that humanity was powerless. To the galaxy, it was entertainment. To humans, it was fuel. On the ruined colony of Carven 3, alien soldiers marched through broken homes. Fires burned. In the streets, children cried as they were dragged into cages. The alien commander raised his voice to the sky and laughed. Look at the silent humans. They do not come for you. They will not save you. Every word was broadcast across space. Other alien worlds received the signal and laughed. But hidden among the wreckage, a small transmitter survived. A human survivor used it to send a single coded message. It was short, only 3 words. They are watching. The aliens never noticed in secret stations orbiting dead stars. Human commanders gathered. They watched the broadcasts of alien cruelty. They recorded every insult, every word of mockery. They counted every enslaved human, every destroyed world. The leaders of Earth remained silent still. Not a single public reply came. Not a single fleet moved. To the galaxy, silence meant surrender. But to humanity, silence meant patience. Alien provocations grew stronger. A fleet from the Karth Dominion moved deeper into human space. They burned 2 minor colonies and then turned their guns toward a refugee convoy. Thousands of human civilians screamed as their transports were trapped. The alien admiral opened a channel to Earth itself. His words were cruel and mocking. Do you see this, humans? Do you see how we take your people? You will never rise again. You are broken. You are finished. The transmission reached Earth. Billions of humans saw it. The galaxy thought it would break their spirit. Instead, it forged it in underground bunkers. Workers hammered harder. Shipyards glowed brighter. The silence was almost over, but there was one alien leader who doubted. General Varak of the Drulk Empire was older than most. He had fought humans long ago in the wars of the past. He remembered how humans fought with teeth bared, how they turned every battle into FIRESTORMs. He watched the new broadcasts of human silence, and though he laughed with the others, his mind was uneasy. They are too quiet, he whispered to himself. They are never this quiet. But his warnings were ignored. The younger leaders called him a coward. They said humanity was nothing but ghosts. Varak fell silent too, but not from arrogance. From fear. Meanwhile, Captain Elias Ward's warship continued its journey. The crew trained in silence, but their eyes carried fire. They had all seen families taken, colonies destroyed, and insults broadcast across the stars. Every crew member carried a reason to fight. The aliens, however, remained blind. One night, a grand alien broadcast reached every corner of the galaxy. A council of alien leaders stood before glowing screens, their voices filled with mockery. They held chains in their hands. And in those chains, broken and bloodied, were human prisoners. Look at them, the alien speaker roared. These are the silent ones. They do not resist. They do not fight. They only beg. This is what humanity has become. The prisoners were forced to kneel. The galaxy roared with laughter. The broadcast ended with one final insult. If humanity dares to rise, we will crush them again. They are finished. Their silence proves it. But somewhere far away, the human warship received that broadcast. 2. The crew watched in silence, their jaws tight, their fists clenched. Then the order came. A single message appeared on the ship's main screen. End the silence. Strike back. The crew rose to their stations. Weapons powered up. Engines thundered. For the first time in decades, a human warship prepared to fight openly. Captain Ward's voice was calm, but his eyes burned. Set course for the Karth Dominion fleet, he ordered, and prepare to show them what silence has cost them. The ship moved like a shadow through space, hunting the very fleet that had mocked humanity the loudest dot in the Galactic Council. Alien laughter still echoed. They believed humans would never fight again. They believed silence meant weakness. But they were wrong. The silence was ending, and the first spark was about to set the galaxy on fire. Asterisk. The first spark the galaxy still laughed. The alien fleet still mocked. But for the first time in decades, a human warship was no longer hiding. Captain Elias Ward stood tall on the bridge of the battleship Silent Dagger. The ship drifted quietly in the void, its dark hull absorbing the light of distant stars. Before them, the enemy waited. The Karth Dominion Fleet 30 warships strong blocked the human vessel's path. Their hulls shone with gold and silver. Proud, arrogant, unshaken. To them, this was no battle. It was amusement. The alien admiral sent a transmission across the stars, his voice dripping with mockery. One ship? This is humanity's answer? A single relic, crawling out of hiding? I expected more. Laughter filled the alien bridge. Officers cheered. Across the fleet, soldiers relaxed in their chairs, waiting to watch another human defeat. But the humans did not reply. The bridge of Silent Dagger was quiet, calm, focused. Captain Ward gave only one order. Open fire. The silence broke. From the dark hull of the human ship, a blinding lance of energy shot forward. It moved faster than light, itself striking the nearest alien cruiser. The alien crew had no time to scream. Their ship cracked in half, fire spilling into the void. One heartbeat later, the explosion ripped through space, blinding every sensor. The galaxy's laughter ended. The Karth admiral roared in shock. Attack! Destroy them! Alien ships moved, weapons lighting up. Missiles streaked across the stars. Plasma beams tore through the void. They expected the human vessel to break under their storm. But the Silent Dagger danced. Engines roared as the ship weaved through fire. Alien shots flew wide, missing their mark. Each time the human ship turned, another beam of energy struck out, tearing apart another enemy vessel. 10 seconds. 2 alien ships gone. 30 seconds. 5 ships destroyed. The alien fleet, once proud, was now screaming in panic. Inside the human bridge, the crew moved like a single mind. Their faces were steady, their voices sharp. For years, they had trained in silence. Now, every move was perfect. Every strike precise. Captain Ward's eyes never left the battlefield. Do not waste time, he ordered. Burn them all. They did. Alien officers shouted across comms. It's impossible. One ship cannot, but their words ended in fire. The human vessel carried weapons the galaxy had never seen. New cannons that bent energy itself. Missiles that split into dozens of smaller warheads, each striking with deadly accuracy. Defense systems that swallowed enemy fire and hurled it back like thunder. The Karth Dominion fleet crumbled. At the Galactic Council, leaders watched the battle unfold live. Their smug faces turned pale. The laughter they had enjoyed only days ago was gone. They stared at their screens in silence, their jaws tight, their eyes wide. A single human ship was erasing an entire alien fleet. And the humans had said nothing. No speeches, no warnings, only fire. The alien admiral, desperate, ordered his flagship to ram the human warship. He shouted with rage, trying to save his pride. End them, even if it costs us all. His flagship surged forward, massive engines blazing. The ship was 3 times the size of the silent dagger. Its armored hull could crush smaller ships with ease. But the humans had prepared. Captain Ward's voice was calm, steady. Release the spear. From the belly of the human ship, a long black weapon slid out. It glowed with red light, humming with power. Then it launched. The spear tore through the void and slammed into the alien flagship. For one moment, the massive vessel kept moving. Then its entire core erupted in a storm of light. The explosion consumed half the alien fleet. When the light faded, only wreckage remained. Burning debris drifted through the void. Bodies floated in silence, and the silent dagger still stood. Untouched. The galaxy trembled. The survivors of the Karth fleet fled, their engines screaming as they escaped into hyperspace. Their last transmissions carried across the stars. Humanity is back. On the bridge of the silent dagger, Captain Ward finally spoke. His words were soft, but they carried across encrypted channels to every hidden human fleet. The silence is broken. Begin the fire. In bunkers on Earth, in shipyards hidden near dead suns, in colonies that had stayed quiet for decades, engines thundered to life. Titan-class warships rose from shadows. Fleets that had been hidden for generations finally prepared to move. Galaxy had mocked humanity's silence. Now they would face the storm. And it all began with the first spark. The gathering storm. The Galaxy thought the silent dagger was a myth. Some said the battle had been faked. Others claimed the alien fleet must have been weak. But survivors of the Karth Dominion spoke the truth. They whispered of fire, of weapons that tore apart whole cruisers in seconds, of a human ship that fought. Like a god of war. And those whispers spread. In the great halls of the Galactic Council. Chaos replaced laughter. Leaders argued, shouted, denied, and panicked. The humans are finished. One alien shouted, that ship was a trick. No. Trick can destroy 30 warships. Another argued, they must have hidden fleets we did not see. The words echoed, shaking the chamber. Fear filled the air. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy no longer looked at humanity with pity. It looked at humanity with dread. Meanwhile, far from the council's chamber, Earth stirred. In the hidden shipyards beneath the oceans, massive shadows rose. Titan-class warships, each one larger than a city, broke free from their watery prisons. In the deserts of Mars, silos opened, and fleets of black carriers ascended into the sky. On moons forgotten by the galaxy, thousands of smaller strike ships launched, their engines glowing like fireflies in the void. Humanity had stayed silent, but it had not been idle. Decade after decade, in secret, they had built. Now, at last, the storm was gathering. The galaxy had no idea how many ships humans truly had. Some said hundreds. Others whispered thousands. But the truth was worse. Humanity had fleets hidden in every shadow of space, waiting for the order. And that order had come. Captain Elias Ward stood again on the bridge of the silent dagger. The wreckage of the Karth Dominion fleet still drifted in space, glowing with fire. His crew moved quickly, scanning for signals. Captain, an officer, sighed, we're receiving multiple reports. The Karth Dominion is calling for reinforcements. They will come with everything they have. Ward nodded, his face calm. Let them come. His eyes turned toward the stars. Somewhere out there, the galaxy still mocked his people. Somewhere, alien leaders still believed they could crush humanity. That belief would end soon. Back in Karth, space, the Dominion reeled in shock. Their pride was wounded, their fleet shattered. But their rage was greater than their fear. The High Admiral of Karth slammed his claws onto a council table. No more games. Send the fleets. Send them all. Crush the humans before they rise further. Across the Dominion, war drums thundered. Fleets began to gather thousands of ships, ready to burn Earth itself, but they were too late. While the Dominion rallied, the humans moved faster. In the asteroid belt beyond Jupiter, entire colonies lifted off. They had been disguised as mining stations, but in truth, they were mobile fortresses. Their cores lit up with power, transforming into armed strongholds that could fight like fleets of their own. In the far reaches of the Kuiper Belt, carriers emerged from frozen shadows. Their hulls glistened like ice, but their hearts burned with fire. Everywhere, ships moved, engines roared, weapons powered up. Humanity's silence had ended, and now the storm was growing louder by the hour. But the galaxy did not see everything. All they knew was this: humanity had fired once, and that single strike had silenced 30 alien warships. What would happen when the rest of humanity's armada revealed itself? In the shadows of his private chamber, General Varak of the Drelk Empire watched the reports. He had warned others, but they had laughed at him. Now their laughter was gone. He whispered into the dark, his voice heavy with memory. "I told you, humans never stay silent. When they rise with fire." He knew what would come next. The galaxy thought it was strong, but he had seen how humans fought in the old wars. They turned every battle into storms. They never stopped once the fire began. And this time, they had prepared for decades. The galaxy had mocked them too long. On Earth, in a hidden command bunker, the leaders of humanity finally spoke. Their voices were steady, their eyes hard. One of them looked at the burning map of alien territories. Enough of their laughter. Enough of their chains. Another raised a hand and gave the final command: unleash the fleets. All across human space, a storm awoke. Engines howled. Titans rose. Carriers launched. Smaller ships formed into strike. Wings. The silence had ended. The gathering storm was here. And soon, the galaxy would learn that when humanity answers, it answers with fire. Asterisk. The fire unleashed the galaxy had mocked humanity for decades. Now the galaxy burned. When the order was given, Earth's skies lit up with fire. From hidden shipyards beneath the oceans, Titanic warships broke free. They rose through the waves, their black hulls gleaming, each one the size of a floating city. On Mars, silos opened and released fleets of sleek destroyers, their engines howling as they pierced the red sky. From the asteroid belt, disguised mining colonies shed their false shells, revealing fortress ships armed with weapons unseen in centuries. The silence had ended. Humanity's storm had begun. The alien empires were not ready. The Karth Dominion sent fleets to retaliate, but their first reinforcements never arrived. Instead, they found themselves ambushed. Not near the dead star of Zeros, human cruisers emerged. From black space, they struck first, firing with precision. Alien flagships erupted in fire before they could even raise shields. The galaxy had always believed humans were primitive, slow, predictable. But these fleets moved like hunters. Every strike was perfect. Every ambush was planned. It was as if humanity had been studying its enemies for decades. Because it had, Captain Elias Ward, in the Silent Dagger, now led a fleet. No longer alone. His ship was joined by dozens of destroyers, carriers, and strike craft. Together, they carved a path through enemy space. Ward stood calm on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the burning stars. "They thought we would never fight," he said softly. "Now they will remember us for fire." And with his command, the human fleet surged forward, tearing apart another Dominion stronghold. The galaxy watched in horror. Every news channel carried images of alien fleets burning. Every transmission showed human warships emerging from shadows. Colonies that once cried in silence now sent out signals of hope, The laughter that had filled the galaxy was gone. Now there was only fear, but not every alien commander was blind. General Varak of the Drulk Empire, the old warrior who had once fought humans, saw the truth clearer than anyone. He addressed his council, his voice heavy with dread. "You fools," he said, "you thought silence meant surrender. But silence was their weapon. They have been building, preparing, waiting, and now they strike with the fury of decades." The council shifted nervously. Some shouted for more fleets, others demanded negotiations, but Varak shook his head. There is no stopping them now, not with words, not with numbers. Humanity has woken, and they will not stop until the stars burn. Meanwhile, the Dominion's High Admiral raged. He could not accept defeat. He ordered all remaining fleets to gather, tens of thousands of ships, the largest armada the galaxy had ever seen. "They are only humans," he screamed. "We will drown them in fire. We will erase them once and for all." And so the galaxy's strongest fleets moved, ready to clash with humanity. But the humans were already ahead. At the edge of Dominion space, the first grand battle began. The alien armada stretched across the void, endless lines of ships glowing with weapons. It was a wall of firepower, unmatched by anything in known history. But then the humans arrived. From the darkness, Titan-class warships entered formation. Their hulls were black as night, their weapons glowing with restrained power. Behind them, carriers released swarms of fighters that blotted out the stars. And then the silent dagger fired first. The battle began not with words, but with fire. The void shook with thunder. Alien weapons screamed through space, lighting the darkness with endless bolts of plasma. Human ships answered with lances of energy, with missiles that split into 100 smaller flames. The galaxy had expected humans to break, but the human fleets fought with precision, discipline, and rage. Every alien cruiser destroyed was answered by another human strike. Every attempt to overwhelm was countered by ambushes and traps, and the humans did not retreat. Not once. Hours passed, but to the galaxy it felt like seconds. Billions watched the battle from afar. They saw alien fleets die in fire. They saw human warships hold the line, and they realized a terrible truth. Humanity was not fighting to survive. Humanity was fighting to win. At the height of the battle, Captain Ward gave his final command. Release the Titans. The massive human warships, hidden until now, opened their cores. From them came weapons the galaxy had never dreamed of. Blinding beams split through space, cutting entire fleets in half. Shockwaves ripped through the void, scattering enemy ships like dust. Alien admirals screamed. Armadas collapsed. The void filled with burning wreckage. When the fire finally faded, silence returned. But it was not the silence of weakness. It was the silence of victory. The galaxy had mocked humanity's silence. Now the galaxy trembled under humanity's fire. And this was only the beginning. Ashes of empires. The war was no longer a rumor. It was no longer whispers of a single ship or a hidden fleet. Now the galaxy saw it with its own eyes. Empires burning, fleets destroyed, worlds falling silent under human fire. The Karth Dominion, the proud hunters of the stars, were the first to crumble. Their fleets had been shattered in the great battle. Their colonies, once filled with arrogance, now screamed for help. But no help came. Human fleets moved like shadows, cutting supply lines, striking deep into enemy space. Every dominion, world that raised its weapons was silenced. Some surrendered. Some resisted. All fell. The Dominion had once called humans weak. Now the Dominion was gone turned to ashes. Fear spread like wildfire. On the trade world of Xandros, merchants whispered in terror. They burned the Dominion fleets in hours. They have titans hidden everywhere. No one can stand against them. Panic filled the streets. Ships fled. Traders abandoned their homes. Even the council itself trembled. The galaxy had always mocked humanity. Now the galaxy feared humanity more than death itself. But humanity did not stop. From the ruins of the Dominion, fleets surged outward. They struck the next empire, the Velkari, known for their iron walls and endless armies. The Velkari thought their fortresses could not fall, but the humans did not fight with brute strength. They fought with precision. Strike wings slipped past. Defenses. Titans unleashed fire that shattered walls built over centuries. In days, the Velkari fortress worlds became tombs. And when the humans left, nothing remained but silence and ash. Across the galaxy, leaders panicked. Some tried to form alliances, calling old rivals to unite against the rising storm. Others tried to send messages of peace, begging humanity for mercy. But humanity did not answer. Earth's fleets spoke only through fire. On the bridge at the Silent Dagger, Captain Elias Ward watched another fortress burn. His crew sat in silence, their faces cold, their eyes hardened. 2 empires gone, one officer whispered. How many more will fall? Ward stood with steady calm. As many as it takes. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. He knew what the galaxy had done to his people. He remembered the years of silence, of mockery, of cruelty. This was not conquest. This was justice. In the shadows, General Varric of the Drelk Empire watched with growing dread. His own empire debated war, but he knew better. They are not fighting like conquerors, he told his council. They fight like survivors who were forced to wait too long. Every empire that mocked them will fall. And if we stand in their way, we too will turn to ash. But his words fell on deaf ears. The council still argued. Some called for war. Some begged for peace, and Varric realized the truth. The galaxy was too divided. It could never unite against the storm. Humanity knew this. That was why they had waited far across the stars. Another empire burned. The Shrell Confederacy tried to fight with numbers, sending waves of ships. But numbers meant nothing now. Human fleets tore through them, scattering cruisers like leaves in the wind. Titan-class warships cut through entire armadas with a single LA. Strike. The Shrell surrendered, but surrender meant little. Their fleets were dismantled, their worlds broken. In the ashes of their empire, the humans raised no flag. They claimed no throne. They simply moved on, leaving silence behind. Billions watched in horror. From one end of the galaxy to the other, screens flickered with images of human fleets. Black warships blotting out suns. Titans firing beams that split planet-side defenses in seconds. The galaxy had laughed at Earth's silence. Now it trembled in Earth's fire. But within the flames, a question began to rise. Would humanity stop? Or would they burn the galaxy until nothing remained? Even some humans wondered. On Earth, leaders watched the reports with heavy eyes. They saw their fleets burn worlds, topple empires, erase civilizations. Have we become what we hated? One whispered, but the others shook their heads. No, we did not start this. We only finish what they forced upon us. Still, the fire spread. Still, the empires turned to ash. Captain Ward stood once more at the bridge window, staring into the burning void. The silence was gone. The laughter was gone. Now only fear remained. And behind that fear, the fire of humanity spread wider, hungrier. Brighter. Empires fell. Ashes drifted. The galaxy had mocked humanity's silence. Now it was learning the price of fire. Asterisk. The last empire the galaxy was burning. Empire after empire had fallen to silence and ash. Only one remained. The Drelk Empire, ancient, vast, proud. Their fleets stretched across hundreds of worlds. Their armies were hardened from centuries of conquest. If any empire could resist humanity, it was them, God, and yet their halls trembled. General Varrock stood before his emperor. His scales were dull with age, his voice heavy with truth. "My emperor," he said, "I have fought these humans. I have seen their silence, and now I see their fire. They do not fight as we do. They fight as a people who are mocked, broken, and forced to wait too long. If we meet them in battle, we will not survive." The emperor's throne room erupted with anger. "Coward!" one shouted. "Human tricks cannot defeat us." Another roared. But Varrock did not flinch. "You do not understand. They do not fight for conquest. They fight for memory. Every empire that laughed at their silence is burned. And we laugh the loudest." The emperor's eyes narrowed. "Then we will show them that the Drelk do not burn." And so the order was given. The galaxy's last empire gathered the largest fleet in its history. Every ship, every weapon, every warrior. A wall of firepower to stop humanity's storm. The humans came. From the darkness, fleets emerged black. Ships, silent engines, eyes glowing with fury. Titans loomed in the void, their weapons burning with restrained power. At the front was the silent dagger, still leading, still striking fear. Captain Elias Ward stood calm, his voice steady. "They have gathered everything they are. One last wall. One last empire." He looked to his crew, their eyes hardened by countless battles. "Today we end this war." The last battle began. The void exploded with fire. Drelk warships screamed across the stars, unleashing storms of plasma and missiles. Human fleets answered with blades of energy and swarms of fighters. Titans tore through cruisers with devastating beams, while Drelk dreadnoughts fought back with sheer size and fury. For hours, the stars themselves seemed to vanish under the weight of fire. Billions across the galaxy watched. They held their breath, knowing that everything would be decided here. Would humanity burn out? Or would the galaxy itself turn to ash? At the height of the chaos, Varrock himself stood on the bridge. Of his flagship, he watched his fleets fall, one after another. He saw the humans strike with unshakable precision, their ships moving like predators through the void. And in that moment, he knew the truth. The galaxy had already lost. But he refused to flee. "If this is the end," he growled, "then I will see it with open eyes." On the silent dagger, Ward gave the order, "Release the final wave." The Titans opened their cores once more. But this time, their weapons were not aimed at fleets. They were aimed at the heart of the Drelk Empire, their homeworld. The Drelk capital burned brighter than a star. Its shields collapsed. Its armies screamed. And then silence. The last empire was gone. When the fire faded, the void was empty. Wreckage drifted like broken bones. The Drelk fleets were no more. The galaxy's last empire had fallen. On every world, every colony, silence reigned. For the first time in history, the galaxy belonged to humanity. But humanity did not raise banners. They did not crown emperors. They did not demand surrender. Instead, they sent a single message across the stars. Captain Ward's voice echoed on every channel, carried to every world. "This war was not our choice. For years you mocked us, ignored us, broke us. You thought our silence was weakness, but it was patience. And when you struck, we answered with fire." He paused, his voice turning cold. "Now the galaxy lies in ashes. Remember this. Humanity does not start wars, but we finish them." And then the message ended. Across the galaxy, billions wept, not for the fallen empires, not for the burning fleets. They wept because they understood. Humanity had been silent. Now humanity had spoken, and the stars themselves would remember their words forever. On the bridge of the Silent Dagger, Captain Ward finally sat. His eyes were tired, his voice quiet. "It is over," he whispered. But deep inside, he knew the truth. The galaxy had mocked humanity's silence. Then humanity had answered with fire. And though the war was finished, the memory of fire would never fade. The galaxy would never laugh again. Asterisk.